This is Montana This Morning.
Good Wednesday morning. It's 5:30. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. Ann Miller joins us here on this first day of September.
It's going to be a great month. I can
Feels
tell,
like a new month already,
It sure
right?
does, honey, yeah. Yesterday it got warm. Didn't get as hot as we thought it was going to get. Didn't get into the 90s here in Billings, but of course we're not getting out of 70s today. And Friday we may not get out of the 60s. So not a bad start out there right now. We do have a little bit of surface smoke. That will actually get thicker as we go into the afternoon, so keep that in mind if you have asthma or respiratory ailments. 58 right now at Logan, humidity at 33%, winds out of southwest at about 7 miles an hour. Take a quick look at some temperatures across the viewing area. White Sulphur Springs at 42 as we make our way from the west to the east. Big Timber at 49, Reed Point at 50. We've got 53 in Columbus, 57 in Huntley, up in Ingomar at 61, Colstrip at 62, and down in Cali we're at 57. Highs today in the 70s and some 80s off to our east and northern parts of Wyoming. We'll go with a high today of 78 here in the Magic City. We start off in the 50s. By lunchtime we'll be around 70 and then the mid to upper 70s later this afternoon. We'll see maybe some clouds mixing in, but of course we are going to stay dry. There is rain in the forecast, but do we have the chance at severe weather? I'll let you know coming up.
All right, but either way, it is great tea weather. I have a cup of tea.
I told her when I walked over, I said, do you smell
smell?
like some lemony or some apple cider? And
Yeah.
she says, my
I was
tea
like,
smells fantastic.
It's not apple cider tea, but hey, if it smells that good to you. But do you ever feel like the universe is trying to show you a sign or give you a sign maybe?
Yeah, once in a while.
Okay, so I've
You
totally
have a sign? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
here
so
we go.
I've been trying to quit coffee forever and I'm trying to switch to tea only. But the past 2 days I went to Starbucks to get some tea. Someone else has paid for it. Like one day I was in the drive-through line and the person in front of me paid for it.
Oh.
And then yesterday I walk into Albertsons and a man came up to me and he's like, "Can I buy your drink for you?" And I was like, "You don't have to. No, that's fine." And then we had a conversation about drinking tea and he said he had never, he was like 83. He's never drank coffee in his life and he's always drank tea.
Huh.
And so I was like, this is a sign. I mean,
That is a sign. The
2
universe
free
is telling
teas
you
in a
something.
day
How about
and a
that?
conversation about tea. So here's my tea, but I'll put it away for now. So
All
I
right,
can.
well, here's to you.
Thank you, Millie. Yeah,
What a
pretty
great
cool.
story.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Going to be a
It's a
great month for
thing,
you,
yeah.
Victoria. I can tell.
My fingers crossed.
All
All right, thanks, Miller. Our top story this morning, school mask mandates across the state are drawing the attention of Governor Greg Gianforte. Yesterday, he and the state health department issued a rule that says school districts should give parents the option to decide if their child wears a mask or not. The rule is not mandatory. However, it just urges districts to consider allowing masked students in Billings. Billings Superintendent Greg Upham says School District 2 will stay the course and leave the mask mandate in place. Montana schools that require masks are offering remote learning for those who do not want to wear them. A group of Billings residents are showing their support for the local school mask mandate a week after thousands protested against it. Yesterday, a parade traveled through the medical corridor and around Superintendent Upham's office at the Lincoln Center. Organizers say they wanted to show Upham, the school board, and healthcare workers there are community members that support them. The parade goers praised the decision to stand by masks in school, saying it took bravery in this climate.
As a group, there is a collective group of humans who sincerely believe and trust our administration and that our elected officials were elected to do a job, and we believe they're doing their job to the best of their ability. And we really want to show them that they have support and that there's not just angry people or frustrated people in our community, but there are people who do support them.
The parade comes the same day school officials were forced to make another tough decision. Saturday Live has been canceled due to COVID-19 concerns. The annual fundraiser for the district and Billings Education Foundation was scheduled for September 18th. Meanwhile, the school district's teachers are more than a week into classes and working without a contract. The local teachers union and SD2 officials met for 6 hours yesterday, hammering out negotiations trying to change that. But there's a major sticking point. Teachers union officials say the district is attempting to eliminate benefits some tenured teachers have been accruing for more than 30 years. District leaders claim they don't have the money to keep the benefits package around, at least as is. But the union says their teachers are entitled to that money. Still, as of today, both sides believe they are close to a deal.
No teacher wants this district to go bankrupt. No teacher wants this district to be financially strapped. We want it to be sustainable long-term into the future.
SD2 officials did not speak with us about the negotiations. The two sides released a joint statement after Tuesday's meeting. It states they are working together to solve issues and are making progress. The next meeting date has not been scheduled. Big changes are ahead for trash collection in Billings. The city will no longer pick up extra bags that don't fit in your bin every week. Instead, they will move to a monthly pickup schedule for extra trash. City sanitation officials say staffing is the reason for the change. These changes go into effect on September 6th. If your trash pickup day is on Monday right now, crews will collect your extra garbage the first week of the month. If it's Tuesday, it will be the second week of the month. Excess pickup for those with trash collection on Wednesday will be the third week of the month. And if your trash day is on Thursday, extras day will be scooped up on the fourth week of the month. In national news, now that the withdrawal is complete, President Joe Biden is defending his decision to pull the U.S. military out of Afghanistan. CBS's Tina Krause has more on what the president is saying after ending 20 years of combat in Afghanistan.
My fellow Americans, the war in Afghanistan is now over.
President Biden addressed the nation yesterday in a speech marking the end of the longest war in U.S. history.
I was not going to extend this forever war, and I was not extending a forever exit.
Critics have accused the president of mishandling the withdrawal, leading to a chaotic evacuation that included a suicide bombing that killed 13 U.S. troops and scores of Afghans. The president said the tragedy emphasized why it was time to get out.
I don't think enough people understand how much we have asked of the 1% of this country who put that uniform on.
Republican critics insist the move has weakened American security and reject the Taliban's promise to keep extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS out.
The terrorists in charge of Afghanistan are not your friend. President Biden screwed this up every way you could screw it up.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy noted that more than 100 U.S. citizens were left behind.
Get every American home. I believe there should be accountability for what I see as probably the biggest failure in American government on a military stage in my lifetime.
The White House says the State Department will continue to work to get those people out of Afghanistan. Tina Krause, CBS News.
More than 2,400 U.S. service members were killed in Afghanistan since fighting began there in 2001. More than 110,000 Afghan military, police, and civilians lost their lives. It's also estimated the U.S. spent nearly $6 trillion on the 20-year conflict. The newest surge in COVID-19 cases has hospitals searching for enough ventilators and oxygen. Some hospitals have been forced to use backup tanks, normally used only when their main tank is being filled. Another problem is finding enough drivers who carry the proper hazardous materials certifications to deliver oxygen to hard-hit hospitals. The problem is so bad in Georgia, some hospitals fear they may run out of medical oxygen. Tropical depression Ida is moving toward the northeast today, but we're still just beginning to see how the storm has devastated Louisiana and Mississippi. As CBS's Bradley Blackburn reports, more than 1 million people are still without power and the most basic necessities.
The lines for food and water are long and growing in New Orleans, with cars full of people running out of options. More than 1 million customers all along southeast Louisiana are still without power and could be for as long as a month, meaning no AC in dangerous summer heat.
It hurts. We be burning up. We wake up in sweat. We go to bed in sweat. We don't have enough to be homeless.
At this gas station, some say they waited 7 hours hoping to fill up and then get out.
Getting out of Dodge right now, like leaving New Orleans and heading to somewhere where there's more supplies.
Hundreds of thousands across the region are not only without power, but also tap water, and no real timeline for when it will return. In hard-hit Homa, damage from wind and flying debris is everywhere. Many houses are unlivable.
Well, some people back there, it's gone. It's gone. It's really bad.
The barrier island of Grand Isle almost completely destroyed. This drone footage shows the 3 feet of sand now swamping the island. Fire officials say it could take 3 to 5 years to get things back to normal.
This is a result of 10 to 12 breaks in the levee on the Gulf side. 100% of the structures are damaged.
In Mississippi, rain bands that followed the eye of the storm caused flooding a day after Ida's initial hit.
I have lived out here 30 years, and I've never seen it this bad.
In southern Mississippi, Ida left nearly 60,000 customers without power. It's still unclear how long they'll remain in the dark. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
The mayor of New Orleans says some power may start to return this evening, but in other places it could take weeks. Tulane University is busing 1,500 students from New Orleans to Houston. They'll stay in hotels and take classes remotely until Louisiana gets back online. Wind energy provided the greatest amount of new energy in the country last year at 42%. Solar energy comes in second, making up 38% of new electricity generation in 2020. The Department of Energy says wind power provided more than half of in-state electricity generation and sales for a few states. Technology improvements made it easier to generate land-based wind energy. New turbine models feature taller towers with longer blades that can reach into higher winds. To wildfire watch, the massive Caldor fire in Northern California is threatening Lake Tahoe. It's now over 191,000 acres and ravaging hundreds of homes and businesses. CBS's Katie Nielsen has more on efforts to contain the spread of the flames, which now threatens to torch more than 33,000 homes and businesses.
Crews from CAL FIRE are putting together a strategy to try to save Heavenly from the Caldor fire as the winds continue to push the flames east, straight toward the ski resort.
We want to get the plan in place and everything built and in place where we can kind of hold this here.
Firefighters made a plan for dozers to cut lines around the resort overnight. And another key part of the strategy is actually the snowmaking machines.
It'll help a lot. It's spreading water out. It's increasing the humidity level. It's getting everything wet. So if we do have any kind of spots in here, it's able to slow it down so we can get folks in it.
On Highway 88 at Kirkwood Resort, crews there are also working to try to protect the runs and infrastructure as the fire continues to move closer, fanned by the gusty winds. Winds that whipped up flames just north of there along Highway 50 in Twin Bridges as crews did what they could to save homes and buildings there. Closer to the lake, crews spent the evening putting out hotspots in Christmas Valley, getting ready for the overnight hours.
The main thing for firefighters scientists to focus is structure protection.
From where we are here at Heavenly, you can see ash in the air, winds carrying it from the head of the fire still a few miles away. Some of those pieces about the size of a dime. At Heavenly, Katie Nielsen, CBS News.
California's largest wildfire, the Dixie Fire, has burned more than 800,000 acres. It was less than 50% contained as of this morning. Firefighters say the Dixie and Caldor fires are the first wildfires to ever burn from one side of the Sierra Nevada mountain range to the other. And now closer to home, did you know 64% of Montana's fourth graders are not reading at the proficient level? That's why we're collecting donations to get more books in the hands of children with our If You Give a Child a Book campaign. A study by Reading is Fundamental shows if a child grows up in a home with 100 books, there's a 90% probability of completing 9th grade compared to 30% in bookless homes. We partner with local Title I schools as they're often overseen when it comes to national reading initiatives. Principal at this year's partner school, Ponderosa Elementary, says he believes each and every single student at his school can succeed.
I'm a huge believer that an address doesn't define what you're able to learn in your education by any means. So this does open up an opportunity for families that might not have the finances to have the books for their children. It's going to be a huge bonus to their education and help them be more successful in life.
Donating is as easy as visiting ktvq.com/book, and you can pick the amount you would like to donate and then safely enter in your information. Thank you so much for starting your day with us here on Montana This Morning.